What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be working on a pretty expensive Porsche interior from a GT3 RS. Let's get into today's video. Alright, so what we got here is one of the bucket seats for a GT3 RS. Really nice seat. You got the little green stitching, kind of like an Alcantara with like a perforated center. Pretty nice seat. The good stuff is right behind here. Look at this full carbon fiber back. These seats are pretty expensive. I'll show you guys. They're no joke. So one thing is that obviously on TJ's car, as you know, is he bought two cars. They kind of pieced together, and this had this interior, these are a lot nicer seats, but it really doesn't go with the color of the car. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be redoing the seats themselves to match that existing interior. So we're going to get brand new leather, Porsche leather, that we're going to have to skeeve, it's like the term, which is they take a little bit of the material from the leather so it's not so thick, so it's able to wrap accordingly and really nice without wrinkling, and to match the correct thread and the insert. The insert is gonna be dope. I can't wait to show you guys. I mean, these are the seats themselves, really nice, which a cool little feature because obviously you come in and out all the time with the seat and you always get this messed up. It's actually like a little cover. Look at that. So that comes off there and then exposes, you know, the other piece down here. So you have multiple pieces. You come in and out here. Here's another piece. So we'll be redoing those pieces as well that kind of keep this protected from coming in and out. What we have in here inside the shop here is the material on the door panel. So this is the original door panel, which is really nice. It has the Napa grain leather, black, carbon fiber accents as well. But it has this gray thread, right? So we're gonna be matching to that thread. Luckily, good old company Serafil has all the different colors. So we're looking at the gray tones here. I'm gonna have to kind of match it up to that and order the correct thickness so we have a nice, that's a pretty thick stitch there. So we're gonna get that matched up. I'll order the correct thread for that. I wanna show you guys the leather as well. Let me get the book out so I can show you guys. All right, so here we have our Porsche book. I have a lot of different materials here, but this is our Porsche. Kind of tells our different vinyls, their leathers, but the one we're looking for is the Napa leather, which is a very smooth grain. Looks like to be the Black Windsor, which is a very smal, smooth grain leather, which is what we need for that seat. So we're gonna order a hide for TJ. Get that coming. We're gonna get that skived so it's like a lot easier to work with, so it's not so thick. I'll match up the thread, but I wanted to show you how expensive these seats are. They're no joke. But if you look up, you know, these seats, see what we got here on eBay, I mean, they're no joke. Look at that, 17 for those, 19, 16, look at these, 25K for some seats. Like, come on, that's a good down payment on something. That's a car, that's some expensive seats. So basically we'll maybe take these covers off really nice and have them as spares for him. Definitely the interior, you guys are gonna love. I love something special for the insert to kind of tie everything on. So we'll start taking this apart, get things going so we can start stitching it up. So let's go. All right, so we got the seat here. We're gonna start taking apart the seat. Then from there we can kind of get the samples, what we're gonna do with the seat, and maybe I can sew up some samples of material. I got two different gray threads, so I want to stitch them so we can match the door panels pretty close. So I ended up ordering two different threads. So take this thing apart. All right, so we got the seat off. I still have to take the headrest portion off because we're gonna be doing this over. But pretty simple. Got all the foam, everything off of it. Have all the pieces here. We'll take these things apart so we can make the new templates for the seats themselves. But I hadn't showed you, this just came in today. This is gonna be the insert, man. Look at this thing. Woo! It's a nice cloth. and this is gonna look really nice in the new insert. And we got the leather that came in. You're wondering like, whoa, that's just like a roll of leather, but this is not any ordinary leather. It's the Porsche original leather that we sent out to get skived. Skived is the process of where they sand the back of the leather down and they make it thinner, which makes it more pliable and it's more malleable, easier to like wrap and stitch itself. So they could only skive this length off the hide. So this is a cowhide that we sent out. So we got this back. So we're gonna start cutting out our samples. I'm gonna do some stitching over there on the machine and see what thread is gonna match to the door panel. So let's do a little stitching. I sewed up a little sample piece with the 2 threads so we can match it up. So I don't know if we can show on the camera, but you kind of see it. This has more of like a greenish tone. This is more like a grayish tone. So we're trying to match it up to that to focus on it. I think it's that one. And this one's more of a grayish tone. So I think we'll go with this. I see, you can kind of see it right there. Pretty close, but we'll run this one that matches the existing door panels. Yeah. And plus this has a little bit of dirt. We can probably clean this up. It's a brighter silver. So I think we'll go with this. We can start sewing up some of the pieces and get these very expensive Porsche seats looking even better. So let's go.
Okay, so right now it doesn't look like a lot, but we have all the bolsters stitched up with the nice gray thread that we matched to the door panels. Keep in mind, these GT3 RS seats came with green stitching. This is a red Porsche, doesn't match anything. So we matched the factory thread on the door panels, and as you guys can see, it's coming out simply amazing. And I think it's gonna be really good with the combination of the insert material, which was something that TJ's picked specifically. It's some people would know this as a houndstooth, but in the Porsche world, they call it pepita. In Spanish, that is something completely different. And if you told a girl, let me see your pepita, she'd probably slap you. Now that everything's stitched up for the bolsters, we're gonna begin to mount these things. Now it's very important to note that these have like a small little channel in through the seat where it has a cable that pretty much puts tension on the seat. As you guys can see, this side has already been mounted. Looking really nice and clean all through here. I really love the detail of the French seam all the way through. We got some embroidery to do on the headrest still, and we still have to do our inserts. But this is pretty much the big part of the seat. We're almost done with it. We'll do the same thing to the other side. And when this thing is like, when we say it's full carbon fiber, like the whole thing is made of carbon fiber. There's no filler products on this. It's full carbon fiber bucket seats through and through. It's just the only thing that's not carbon is this very small, lightweight metal frame.
Alright, so one key thing about this seat, obviously it has an embroidery here that has a GT3 RS that goes up there, right? But being that these seats are going into a GT3, obviously the thread color and the embroidery itself is going to be without that. So I got a new piece of leather that I have ready to go into the embroidery machine. So we have it here. I'm going to get it over to the embroidery machine. I already have the digitized new logo. We'll get it stitched up, turn this seat into a GT3 with the correct color thread. So let's get the stitching. And voila, there we got our new GT3 embroidery that we'll be installing onto the seat.
Okay, now that the bolsters are pretty much wrapped up, now we're gonna go ahead and start with the insert. Now, we don't want to damage this insert too much, but we do have to take it apart because we're gonna reuse the existing material on the side that clamps it to the inside of the seats. But we are gonna obviously use the foam pad. From there, once we have this thing apart, we're gonna use this as a template to use on the pepita fabric. So once we separate the full material and the side, we will unstitch this seam right here and lay it down on the pepita fabric. Now this material comes in a sequence, so it's very important that we cut directionally in the same area and that everything matches up, because once it's on the actual seat, it needs to go straight up and down. I messed up. We're supposed to do red. Don't judge me. Once we have this thing laid out, we will change everything else out. We only have the headrest, this insert, and the bottoms to do, and the little side bolster cover as well. And this thing's pretty much ready to go. Now, because we actually wanted this material to be a little bit more pliable, we had it skived or skived, whatever you want to say, or split, a little bit thinner than it usually comes. Not super thin because it's still for a seat, but we did have it cut down. When you do that, the materials comes in separate rolls like this instead of one big hide. So that does also present some challenges. But because the inserts are so small, luckily we're able to utilize all the leather with no waste. All right, once fully unstitched, we trace the pattern over the new fabric. All right, and now that it's all stitched up, we mount it on the seat frame and the base is done. Gotta finish up the backrest. I actually thoroughly enjoy this thing. It just kind of gives an older feel. It just feels like classic Porsche, you know, from like late 60s, early 70s. And it looks so good. I'm very happy. And I really do like the combination of the gray stitching, the gray French seam over the red. It kind of gives a couple little things going on, but it still flows with the factory interior. But now you have like this nice pepita or houndstooth, whatever you guys want to call it. It's funny, like if you see this stuff in like a 69 Camaro, you would call it houndstooth, but in the Porsche world they call it pepita, and I really like it. I think it flows really good. Let's finish up this back insert, finish up the embroidery, and then that's one seat down. Okay, so what we've done is cut the material, glued some very thin foam. This is about a 1/4 inch foam on there, and then we ran one seam through where the factory seat had a seam previously as well. But what we're doing is, if you can see here, you can see the seam, and here you can't. So what we do is we actually fold it over like so, and then run another seam. So when you fold it back over, you don't see the seam line. You know, you do see the seam line, but you don't see the stitch. Okay, so we're gonna do that right now. And now we have the same setup as we do here. The only thing we have to do now is trim it to get the same shape. But other than that, this will turn into the top insert, like so.
So doing the embroidery, you'll notice a little bit different. I thought it was gonna be gray, and then TJ throws, oh, I think I want it red. So here it is. Now red. Sheesh! Oh, ready. So seats have been sitting out there in the sun. They're ready to be put in the car. So let's get them in the Porsche.